Hello, good afternoon. This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your questions today, but I also wanted to talk about a particular concerning immigration bill that is working its way through through the Florida Senate, called SB 1718. And someone on this live did also ask me to look it over. It is extremely concerning, and given the outrageous laws and outrageous proposed laws that have been going through the Florida Senate and the House, uh, I would not be surprised if this does go through and passes in Florida. So this particular bill is going to prohibit any funding, so prohibits counties, municipalities from providing public funds or funds to any person, entity, or organization to issue documents to individuals who cannot show their lawful status in the United States. It also invalidates the use of driver's license from other states in Florida. So right now, there are individuals who can obtain their driver's license from, say, New York or Connecticut, and then use the license to drive here, and it allows them to continue living here, to be with their family, to continue to work here while lawfully driving their vehicle with their driver's license. This bill, if passed, would invalidate the any driver's license from out of the state, and it also requires hospitals to collect patients' information related to their immigration status during the admission of the patient. So now that would be an additional concern. And then it also prohibits employers or businesses from hiring, recruiting, referring any undocumented immigrants to any private or public employment. So not just, say, for the state or the county, but for private people. So even if I wanted to hire an individual who may not have legal status, now I could be on the hook. I could be held liable for hiring an individual who is undocumented. So, this with this the passing of this bill, which it could be very possible. That's my opinion right now. Now, it's possible they would pass it because the House and the Senate in Florida. This is not the national government, but in Florida, they have a super majority, the Republicans, and the Republican party is the party that's driving this anti-immigration bill, which is very dangerous. And not it's dangerous to immigrants because it affects their basic human rights, right? The right to exist. Immigrants are going to be pushed into the shadows, and all sorts of bad things happen in the shadows. So that's what makes this so dangerous. But I have seen these types of bills. They are moving forward. For example, there are other bills that are targeting certain individuals in Florida. There are bills that are going towards what individuals can be taught, going towards, for example, there was the melee with the African American studies, and there is a fight going through court right now. And I would anticipate that also garner a big fight from individuals who are advocating for immigrants, because it's such a dangerous bill. And there are so many different ways that the bill is could be devastating, right? It's not just devastating to immigrants who don't have lawful status, but it's also devastating to the economy, because as much as we don't want or certain individuals don't want to admit it. If you look around, immigrants are the individuals that are doing a lot of the work, especially in the hospitality industry. So it also affect, and hospitality is one of the major industries in Florida right now. And so if this bill were to pass, it's going to affect employers in Florida. Employers are going to have to now find, in this time when there's a shortage of labor to begin with, they're going to have to find individuals to work that are able to do the work that undocumented immigrants have been contributing to here. In addition to that, when we talk about the hospital gathering information about their immigration status, that they'll be required to do that, then we could see individuals not wanting to get the treatment that they need, even in urgent cases, because they have that fear that they're going to face, this is going to be disclosed somehow to the government, and then it's going to come back to bite them in the butt. So that goes to human rights and effect on an individual to be able to get the care that they need, especially in regards to their health care. Now, one thing, as an attorney that represents trafficking victims, this bill would no doubt increase the incidence of trafficking, which, it's there are specific laws that protect victims of trafficking just because it's a problem to begin with. But now when we have a bill that forces people into the shadows again, then it also opens a door for traffickers to capitalize on that and to blackmail individuals or make feel as if they have to be at their mercy, or else they're going to be reported, or they're going to face consequences in some way. So, while the bill right now, the bill has made its way out of the committee. So a majority did vote yes on this. So it is a possibility that this could be going forward. I'm going to keep my eye on it, and I will give you an update regarding whether it passes or what we could expect next. Now, even though, keep in mind that yes, it could pass, but then this also can be challenged. And there can be a fight against it to stop this bill from being enforced. So that would be the next step. If it does pass through the majority, the Republican Party, who is driving this type of rhetoric and these types of laws, then the next step would be to fight this, to fight the legality of this, to protect basic human rights, so that individuals don't have to be subjected to, these types of restrictions where they're not going to be able to support their families. They're not going to be able to get the right health care because they're fearful, and where they could be targeted. They could also be the victims of crime and trafficking. So scary stuff going on in Florida, and I will be sure to keep you updated once I get some more information on this bill. Now that I have given you what I know about this bill, I'm going to go ahead and take your questions. Yep, Mills, it is sad to hear, and it is alarming, just because that's not what the United is about. But Florida is doing a lot of outrageous things right now, and this is just one of the things that has been added to the list, right? So with so many immigrants here, so many immigrants contributing to the economy in Florida, uh, I just this bill here is going to have more of a detriment than have any kind of deterrent effect. All right, so put your questions in the comments. I will go ahead and answer the questions. Now, let me remind you that I am a U.S. immigration attorney. I represent clients not only in Florida. I am based in Florida, but I represent clients all over the United States, in all 50 states and around the globe. So if you would like to get legal representation, go ahead, give us a call, and we will be more than happy to evaluate your case and then get right started, get right on with your application to get you immigration relief. Now, here's another thing I want to say here is Florida is an example of what could happen nationally, right? You do have a super majority of Republicans who are passing outrageous laws targeting specific groups of individuals, bringing us back in time to, I mean, you would think we're in the 1950s with the types, the rhetoric, and the types of laws that are passing. And if we don't take action, so you talk to your relatives who are US citizens and who can vote, who can make a difference. Make sure that you make them aware of these types of laws that are passing and how they can affect you, their family member, their friend, right? Their even their worker, if you're working for someone, and remind them that they have the power to make changes through voting. This I've heard, sometimes I get really annoyed when I hear people talking about they don't vote, they're not into that party stuff. Well, this is why this we have this problem here in Florida, is because some individuals did not step up to the table. All right. And because of that, we have irrational people that are making decisions on our behalf. And if, for example, we have DeSantis, who is the governor who's driving a lot of this as well. Well, there's also talk that, and he is going to run for president. And if we don't step up as a nation, and if we don't identify what we need to do, and we need to vote, we need to participate in this process, because if we don't do that, somebody like this, along with the Republicans who have the same mentality, can take the majority and can take the presidency and turn everything around in terms of the progress we've made in immigration. In the past 2 years, it's not perfect, right? There's so much more that can be done, but it was so much worse when Trump was here. Now we are looking at the election coming up in 2024. And that means that if DeSantis or anybody like him and the Republican Party as a whole, if they take the majority, any progress as well as any anti-immigrant immigration sentiment that they have is going to take the floor, and it's going to be dominant. It's going to become law. So a law like this, right? A law like this in Florida could very well be the standard in 2024, right? If the Republicans win. So if you want to have a clear picture of how the other side can affect your immigration process and your ability to survive in the United States and not be pushed into the shadow, then this should be it, where you're looking at this bill that I just explained, and what kind of nightmare it is. It's basically outlawing people. It's outlawing human beings, right? This law could become a federal law, right? So if you're a US citizen, think about how it will affect your family members who are here, your children, your spouse, how this can affect them, and make sure that you start to take action. Start to participate in the voting process locally, right? As well as nationally, right? In your town, in your state, and federally. The election is coming up, but pay attention to also other types of elections, because this is where we select the people that make decisions like this, right? So just keep that in mind. And hopefully we can step up to the plate to make a change in the next election so we don't have to face nightmarish bills like this. Because if the tables turn and Republicans do take over and DeSantis does win, this is what can happen, right? All right. So I'm going to go ahead and answer questions now that I've expressed how serious this is and why we need to really participate where we can. Only if you're a citizen, by the way. Only if you're a US citizen should you be registering to vote, or you should be voting. If you're a permanent resident, you cannot vote, right? But if you're a permanent resident and you can become a citizen so you can vote, right? I don't want to hear any of this. I don't participate in the voting process because you can't, you probably, if you apply for citizenship now, you probably will be able to get through with your citizenship process fairly easily because the immigration process is a lot better than it was back when Trump was here. So if you go for citizenship during and the tables turn and we have a Republican Party in the majority, for example, you could be even finding it hard to become a US citizen. So take action now. If you're a permanent resident, start looking into applying for citizenship if you qualify. If you're a citizen, make sure that you register to vote. Make sure that you go vote and vote for the party that's going to protect your interests. I know I'm an advocate for immigrants and I represent the most vulnerable of them. I understand the damage that this type of bill can do. So, all right. Okay. So back to your questions. Will the Florida bill affect those who overstayed their visa? Absolutely. Yes. This bill is exactly for individuals who overstayed their visa, because if you overstayed your visa, it means you don't have status anymore. You don't have status, right? And if you don't have status, you're undocumented. So it's for individuals who have overstayed or who have crossed the border without permission. If you don't have a current immigration status, then this bill covers you. All right. Let's see. Hi there, Stars family. It's nice to see you. Please, my I-130 was approved 2 weeks ago, and I received notice of NOID on medicals, which I have submitted 10 days ago. Please, my question is, will I get approved without an interview? So usually they do express, now you got annoyed, which means that they're telling you that they plan to deny it. If they change their minds on it, they're going to go ahead and they could just approve the green card and send it to you. So they'll let you know. In Avoa, after doing after doing biometrics, it's posted online. That case is being transferred. What does that mean? So right now they are moving some cases to a new center to be able to help processing times flow better. All right. All right. I don't see any more questions. If you do have a question, put the question in the comments now. Hi there, Denroy. It is a beautiful day. I'm giving thanks. All right, go ahead, put your questions in the comments so that I can answer your questions. If you don't have any more questions, I have said my piece and I will be back tomorrow. Okay, how long does the NVC take to process your application after the I-130? 9 to 12 months. So you could see 9 to 12 months right now. Is the SB 1718 bill passed? No, it has not passed yet. It is moving through the Senate right now. It is being considered. So the last I saw, it went through a committee. So the committee looked at it and they pondered on it. They voted on it, and so that's telling me that the majority of the committee voted yes on the bill. So this means that it's made it out of the committee, and the next thing it's going to do is make it to the floor where they'll vote for it, and that's where it will pass. And if it passes, it has to go to the governor. But the governor is very supportive of bills like this, so I don't see him vetoing this bill. I see him, if it passes the Senate, the Florida Senate, I see him signing this bill. So, scary stuff. Does that mean a longer waiting time after being transferred? So no, I can't guarantee what will happen in your case. It depends on, once again, what's going on in your situation. But usually when they transfer it, they're trying to speed things up by transferring it to another service center so it can be processed faster. But whether it does turn out faster, turn out shorter instead of faster, is going to come down to what's going on in your case. So my PD was in June 2022, only did biometrics and gotten nothing yet, taking really long. So it's going to depend on what kind of case you have, who are you applying through, and it sounds like you are you did biometrics, so that sounds like adjustment of status. So I'm not sure though what case you have. I'm about to file my VAWA. My kids are outside of the U.S. Do I need to have birth certificate here with me in the U.S.? I can wait until I get my green card through VAWA. So this is a very, very specific question. And what I advise is don't do it yourself, right? You're never going to catch me on here telling you, sure, and giving you the exact directions on how you do it yourself, because that's just a formula for disaster. The VAWA application is complex, and usually where individuals get into trouble is they don't understand how complex it is. They don't understand that, yes, any credible evidence is accepted, but that also means that you have to be able to present a great application with very few consistencies, or where you can explain these contradictions. So I would say get representation. I'm here to represent my clients, and you can always call if you want to get started so we can make sure we do it right. Now, when your kids are outside of the United States, they're in. Do you have to wait until they're approved? Usually when you're submitting the petition, you submit their information, and then after it's approved, then they really get into the kids' applications abroad. But I don't know your application. I don't know what's involved. I don't know what the situation is, and this is where I don't give specific legal advice about what to put, what not to put, and so forth. When you file EAD, and adjustment of status, do you have to file the travel? So when you're filing for adjustment of status, usually you do have the option to apply for employment authorization and the travel document. Application for action on approved application for petition. So yeah, so I'm not sure, Charlene. Let me see. I don't know. I don't see a previous question from you. But I see you submitted a form to have things moved to the NVC, so I'm not sure. Okay, so Steffi, if you're gonna do it with me, go ahead and we can get started. As for, and if I do have any clients, you certainly won't hear me disclose it here. But make sure we're giving our clients the right guidance. So if you're doing it with me, get started and we'll give you the right guidance on it. Good afternoon. Just joining. Can I work on my social before applying for VAWA? No. So VAWA is going to be the path to be able to get the Social Security, right? You first have to submit the VAWA petition before applying for the employment authorization and the Social Security number. Now one thing though is if you qualify for other means to get your social security number, then sure, right? If you have other means to access a social security number, your own, then sure. But when we're talking about you not having anything and you qualify for VAWA, then your social security number, your work permit, your travel document is all going to come after you've applied for VAWA. Okay, what does it mean when there's block on your work permit after VAWA was approved, but USCIS is saying that they don't have the case to check why there's a block on the work permit? So definitely sounds like you need legal advice here, Mills. I'm not sure why there would be a block on your work permit. Um, So this is when if you're having a block on the work permit, then it's time to get legal advice. When you're approved for VAWA, you get your work permit. And I'm not sure why there would be a block on it. You need to get legal advice. I need to understand exactly what's going on. I have VAWA. I'm married to a citizen, a US citizen, which process is fast. All right, so you have VAWA. So I'm taking it you are approved for VAWA. You're married to a US citizen. Which one is faster? So I know you worked very, very hard to get to the point where you can have an approved VAWA, right? So it's just a matter of time as long as you applied already for adjustment of status, which we usually do. As long as you've applied for that, you should be able to get your green card soon after having VAWA. Um, as for being married to a US citizen, though, there are a number of follow up questions that I would have for you. First, did you get married to the US citizen before your VAWA was approved? If you got married to the citizen before your VAWA was approved, it could very well mean that you no longer qualify for VAWA, right? So that VAWA that you got is invalid, right? Just because maybe the USCIS issued the approval, not realizing that you were married. So that's the first thing, which would mean that you would be denied for the adjustment of status. But if you married the citizen after you got VAWA, then you have the choice to pursue it through the citizen or VAWA. Right now, once you are approved for VAWA, they move it straight to the green card process. Why not continue to keep this process? That's for you, right? And then another thing is this US citizen the same person who mistreated you, right? If it is, then there could be a lot of conflicts going on there. Do you really want to take back an application with someone who mistreated you that caused you to apply for VAWA in the first place? So as you can see, I'm trying to come up with different scenarios just because I'm making assumptions here to get to an answer. So make sure you get legal representation and at a minimum a consultation. You can always schedule a consultation with me where I can discuss your options and get started right away. Now, to get in touch, if you notice at the bottom of the screen, you will see my number there. Go ahead, call and you'll be able to schedule, or look in the description of the video on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch. You'll see the link to schedule your own appointment, or go on the website, fill out a contact form. So many ways to get in touch. And then on Instagram, link is in the profile. So you can go there. You'll have everything you need to get in touch. All right, great questions so far. Keep those questions coming. All right. Good afternoon. Okay, I answered that. I had a previous social that I worked on H2B. So if you've already overstayed the H2B, that social is no longer valid. I mean, in the real world, though, I have seen individuals still use that social security number to file their taxes and to work and so forth, and for other processes that they needed to do. But the H2B, that Social Security, if, for example, an employer ran a check on it, they would see that it's no longer valid for, employment purposes. Do you have to apply for I-131 travel parole document when you file the EAD? Yes. So that has to, no, you don't have to, right? You can, it's best to though, right? If you do want to get a travel document, it's best to apply for everything all at the same time. But it's also possible to apply for it at a later time. Some individuals, they may not have preference to travel at the time that they're applying for adjustment of status and the employment authorization. But later on, if something comes up, they may opt to travel, and that's where they can submit the travel document. I do it from the forefront, whether my clients say they want to travel or not. I just do it from the beginning, so that at any point that my clients want to travel, that travel document is already in process or they already have it in hand to get up and go. Um, all right, that's going to be it for me. Thanks so much, everyone, for your time. I am going to be heading out. All right, get in touch so we can talk. All right, bye bye.